you're scared of pumpkins over there, dude. I'm still looking at Mark Zuckerberg over here. Just giving me the willies. God, I can't get over it. It's just...
Do a mic check here to make sure I'm getting sound coming through this. Okay, I can hear my end. You want to say something?
You want me to mic check as well? Mic check. Check 2, mic 2.
Give me a little bit more volume.
More volume.
More volume.
Mic check. Testes. 1, 2.
All right, here we go. Are you ready, Marshall?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Remember what I said. You need to eat the microphone. Eat the microphone.
Eat the microphone.
Be the microphone. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we have anybody but myself and Marshall in here right now, but we're going to wing it. So welcome to the Untitled Chapter podcast, episode 1 with guest host Marshall Doane.
That's right. You heard it here first, folks. It's Marshall Doane.
Marshall Doane.
I get that more than you think.
I'm going to get a fact checked on this video now.
I get it. It's like a different last name. Some people, I get calls from all over the place at work.
How's telemarketers?
Oh, man.
Mine's real interesting. I usually get stuff like idle, and then people can't spell it. I'm like, it's 3 letters.
So it's not so bad with telemarketers. They don't really care what your name is anymore, so sometimes they don't even say it. But
They'll just say your first name.
I went and I got pizza north of Chicago. It was a while ago. Was it Lou Malnati's? But the guy took my order, and I just said, yeah, Marshall Doane, we'll pick it up. And he came out with it, and what did he say? It was Mars a Hall. And I was like, I don't ever get that on my first name. It's just, I had to stop and laugh because it's always Doane, Doane, Dome. But yeah.
That's funny. All right, so I guess we'll go over a little bit here. We'll start with you just recently got elected as Alderman in Rock Falls. Is that correct?
Oh, politics already, man.
Well,
right.
we're not. We're just gonna go in a little bit.
Low hanging
this is
fruit.
The first thing that you've gotten involved in with politics.
So it's true. I was appointed as Ward 4 Alderman in Rock Falls. The only difference between getting elected and getting appointed is the mayor at the time will choose someone who fits the same bill as an alderman to be appointed when no one else is volunteering for the position.
So it's like a consolation prize.
It is. It's like,
it's a participation trophy is basically what it is,
like,
right?
man, he's the only one that filled out the application. Like, of anybody else there's out there, it's this guy. But he appointed me earlier this year. It was actually Mayor Westcott at the time appointed me. And then all the real elections came in. It wasn't so different from a real election, though. There were 2 spots open in Rock Falls for alderman. Violet's, her term was up. She's the alderwoman. They kind of go in pairs. There's 2 per ward in Rock Falls. So her term was up. So technically she had to run again, for the actual election, not just to be appointed. And
right.
So she ran, and I guess just how it was set up was I ran too for that same position. And if I would have had the popular vote, if I would have had, I think it was like maybe, I don't want to quote numbers because I'm wrong all the time with numbers, but it wasn't that many. It was like 60 more votes or something, I think.
Right, because most people don't get involved in a lot of that kind of stuff. Most people that vote, they start with everybody votes for president, and midterms, it's maybe half the size that you're going to get for a presidential. But when you get local, people don't realize that, getting extra 5 or 10 votes can make a big difference when you're looking at getting into local politics.
Yeah, the current mayor of Rock Falls won by 2 votes. He got in there on literally 2 votes. Yeah, so I ran against Violet at first, and then she got the popular votes. She got the full term. She got the full 4 years to serve.
Right.
And then I mean, since there was still a position open, I was appointed to fill the 2-year position that was open. So I'm in city council.
So what do you got to do? I'm sure it's not something that you're making, 6 figures doing anything like that. It's
absolutely not.
More of a volunteer kind of job. But what do you do as an alderman there in Rock Falls?
So, I mean, there's always a lot of discussion on like what an alderman does. So we sit on city council when different ordinances come through, which are basically just city rules that eventually become the law. When they come through, we got a problem we got to deal with X. Something is happening more than it should be. It's really annoying. We can make an ordinance saying we're not going to allow that anymore. It's got to go through a voting process. So, I mean, all the topics for how we're going to change the city ultimately comes down to city council to vote on, to make a decision of how we're going to change whatever it may be.
But that's essentially all they need to get something passed, or do they have to have like a town meeting kind of thing where you get opinions from everybody else, or you guys usually just roll with it without that? You don't have to have participation from the local community in order to pass anything.
Yeah, so there's always a chance for the local community to get the voice out. There's all the meetings are always open. There's always a chance for everybody to check the date to see when they can come in and put their 2 cents in if they want, or just sit back and see how everything's running. Give the argument for the topic or against it. And that it happens a lot more than you think it does. A lot of people obviously have a lot of opinions on Facebook, but when it comes down to showing up in person, it's a little different, but same.
But you get a better discussion, just like me and you talking here is going to be better than a discussion commenting on Facebook or Instagram or any type of social media.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that when you have to go to a city council meeting, a lot of people get this like preconceived notion that they have to go stick it to the man. So like they're being oppressed on, and they have to show up to the city council meeting to tell us, this is how it is for me, and that's wrong, and we got to change this stuff. Well, we definitely need to hear that stuff too, though, because if somebody's got an idea and it's like,
they can make things better. Yeah, you want to go with it. But if it's just something that's affecting one person, it's not going to be on the top priority as something that's affecting half the community.
Absolutely. What was the real hot topic last year, I think, was the burn ordinance. Can't burn in Rock Falls unless it's recreational.
I know that's been a big issue over the last couple of years.
And
people on both sides of the fence with that. And it's probably a 50-50 split, and
it was tough. I mean, I wasn't involved at the time. I didn't get to see the project from start to finish, but from what I hear, I mean, that was the last time the whole town got in on a town meeting like that, to voice their complaints or frustrations, either side. Ultimately, it ended with, the ordinance that you can't burn, couches in Rock Falls anymore. It's just got to be a small, controlled little fire. And I get that, I see it from both sides too. I got asthma. Sounds bad, but like people are burning like couches and stuff like that. It's like, oh man, there's a haze over town all night. It's
around here we don't deal with it very much, but
it's a country town, so you know how people are gonna get rid of some of this stuff.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. But you get into like the West Coast or areas where there's more massive droughts. They can't do any of that. They're lucky to, they can't even water their grass, but. My dad lives up there in BC, and this year
BC, that's British Columbia for anyone confused. This man is partially Canadian.
Partially Canadian. I'm fully Canadian. But so up there, like I said, this year wasn't quite as bad, but the last few years was pretty bad, and they really couldn't water their grass. They're a lot more limited on what they can do.
Smokey the Bear, man, that's real.
Forest fires have just been like hitting that area really hard, but
somebody
messed up part. I'm not gonna say what company it is, but they're contracted and they can still pull from the springs for their bottled water.
Oh man, it's almost like I know what you're talking about, but I feel like we probably shouldn't name any big company names here.
But yeah, so I mean that's parts like that are completely messed up. But that kind of goes a little bit off topic. But as far as like ordinances and things like that goes, I mean, I know when I lived over in Sterling, I mean, I think I was parked on my grass for a little bit, and I got a ticket for that, so I had to go and pay that, which I thought was completely ridiculous. It's your own property. I don't know what the big deal is.
Sterling's on it, man.
Yeah. But that was probably 10 years ago now, something like that, so it was a while ago. But
yeah, and I mean, like, that's just like mediocre little stuff. Like, yeah, whatever. I mean, there's definitely some bigger issues and bigger fish to fry. Gambling bars. Parlays.
Yeah, I've seen some of your topics on that.
Yeah, I think everybody knows how the opinion is on those. Everybody that has one wants more. Everybody that doesn't have one and sees them pop up in every vacant building doesn't want any more. There's so much money involved in that.
Trust me, I've seen it all. I mean,
you're
a little younger. You're a little younger than me, but when I was started drinking and going out to the bars, that wasn't a thing. When I was going out, I think you could still smoke in the bar. That was right around the time that they first banned smoking indoors, and it was several years after that when they added the gaming licenses to bars. But I know there for a while, I don't know how it is now, but you had to have like a majority of your sales had to come from liquor sales. You can't be selling 3 beers a month and doing $10,000 in gaming.
I want to say that's the Class B liquor licenses in Rock Falls.
And I don't think there was an option when the gaming licenses first came out. I don't know if that was an option because a lot of those other pop-up bars didn't start coming out for several years, and obviously the last couple of years have been a lot worse. You look in areas like Oregon there, you got quite a few of them that'll pop up. You might have 9 bars for a city with a population of like 3,000 people.
Yeah, and I can go on and on about them. I mean, you go down to kind of down to like the Bloomington area, you'll see slot machines and gas stations. It's just wherever the town decided, this is how we're gonna set up our little slot parlors and everything. This is how we're gonna incorporate those in our town. That's how they did it. The company with the state combined, just left it up to the municipalities, the cities, or the villages to decide how they're gonna regulate their own gambling machines. And Rock Falls, unfortunately, has a lot of them now. I think it got a little bit involved with the runaway profits of it. There's guys out there that I've talked to. They say, well, so and so has 2 of them, and I had 1 of them, and this building came available, and I bought another one just to have 2 like everybody else. And I get it. It's free enterprise. Yeah. Let people make money however they want to make money.
And if they're using pre-existing buildings, I don't see as much of a problem. It's when we start, leaving all these big empty buildings. You can drive down Sterling and see the same thing. I know when I first moved here in '98, you go into that mall, I don't think there was an empty spot there. Man. You go in there was an awesome Mexican restaurant right there off to the side, and right next to it was a arcade. I remember going there all the time.
Yep.
I heard it got a little questionable there towards the end before they closed down. Those started closing down, and all the shops, you lost places like JCPenney on the other side. You go in there now, there's 4 or 5 shops open right now.
Oh man, I mean, Bergner's left, and that's what a lot of retail spaces they refer to a Bergner's in their mall as like a staple store. This isn't like a mall aspect of it, but this is like another like a corporation aspect. Is like if you've got a Bergner's in your mall, then other companies look at that and they're like, hey, they got a Bergner's, they got people coming in here.
Right, you got a high traffic area, yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing works with other corporations too. You'd be surprised, like Applebee's. Anytime you see a Walmart, look within like a square mile, and you'll probably find an Applebee's around.
See, and that's one thing, when that one closed down in Sterling, it kind of threw me off. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I know the pandemic probably played a little bit of a role in that.
I think it sure did.
But, because I remember let me think here. What was over there? Ryan's. That was right next door when they closed down.
From years prior.
I had heard that building stayed closed for so long because Applebee's had something with the city that whatever moved into that building was not allowed to hold a liquor license.
Absolutely.
And I think that held that building closed. And I get Applebee's stance on that because you don't want to lose business, but at the same time too, that's just more empty buildings. Now you look at Menards, at least they're utilizing that old building now, so it's not just empty space.
It's a distribution center in there, I hear.
It's something. It's at least getting utilized for something, and it's not just another empty building that's taking up space. You go down. I remember shopping in Kmart. That's gone now. I remember the little diner that they had inside there. Used to go in there on the weekends. Oh, yeah, man. That food was actually pretty good.
Must be too long ago.
Walmart even had the diner there at the back. Ugh. That was a long, long time ago. When I first moved here, it was right after the Supercenter opened up there in Sterling at the new location. Do you know where the original Walmart, which was just like Rock Falls, it was before it was a Supercenter?
So I think that was before Big Lots ever got that building.
Yep, and that was where Walmart was, right where the Kohl's and
it's Kohl's now. Yeah, it's hard to
right over there now.
Think back that far. I mean, I was just a wee lass back then, but I mean, I was probably like 8-ish, remembering that Big Lots being empty. Gosh, but now that just seems like it was just so much of a tip of the iceberg kind of thing, because we are, rural America's dying, man. I can't put it any other way. There's a lot of empty buildings around a lot of towns right now. And that's the core concept, is revitalize or die, right? There's your options.
Well, I think a lot of it obviously came down to a lot more people buying online. And obviously the last year and a half, there's been a lot more of that.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
The reason that Amazon profits have skyrocketed over the last year and a half. Which,
absolutely.
You know what? They got, I remember Amazon, that's where you got books. That's 100% where you got books.
That's so long ago. It's so great because Jeff Bezos is now in the news. Every other time, there's almost like a wealth war going on between him and Elon. If Amazon, the company, does really good one year, then Jeff Bezos will be the most richest person in the world. But then, you get companies like who was the rent-a-car company that just pledged to purchase was it 10 or 100,000 Tesla vehicles for their rent-a-car company.
I don't know, what do you got?
Boom, Elon just skyrocketed up in rent. He's the richest person in the world again.
Yeah,
he's the first person to have over 300 billion dollars be worth that much.
Yeah. Well, you look at those two, they're obviously the most well-known, richest people. And, I feel like you've got 3 siblings there. You got Bezos, Musk,
siblings.
And then you got Zuckerberg right there. I feel like he's the middle child that kind of gets left out of everything. Man. I mean, you think with as much of the social media market that he has, that he would have, I don't know, a bigger stake in it. But when you see that, everybody knows who he is. It's just like 15 years ago, everybody knew who your friend Tom was on MySpace.
Oh, Tom.
I mean, I logged in there.
Never talked to that guy.
Couple months ago. I mean, that guy got out right in time, man. He cashed out, and MySpace is still 100% a thing.
You know what? I was feeling nostalgic. I put the rose-colored glasses on one day, and I did a deep dive on all these old guys. Like, where did they go? Where have they been? And I think they said Tom from MySpace does, photography, and he does, the equivalent of his own, Instagram model vacations to these old, big tourist traps and stuff, and takes a lot of pictures of it. I think he sold MySpace back in the heat of that for $530 million.
Yeah,
just
and
something ridiculous.
And that for back then, nowadays that doesn't sound like as much, but that is 100%.
Who here remembers who their top 10 friends were on MySpace?
Yeah, but you
got to choose that.
I think did it always start top 10 or was it top 6 first? I can't quite remember. I know.
Could you control that even? It's been so long. My gosh. If you were the 7th friend, man, you knew it. Check out that person's profile. Where my face isn't there anymore. Kyle? It's pulling a fast one on me, everybody.
Yeah, that was something for sure. But
high school age social media back in the day. Oh gosh, that was middle school even, because 2008 was when Facebook started taking off. We still have that picture of Zuckerberg up here for everybody to see. How I can't look at it for too long. It's just it's uncanny valley. It looks human, but don't do that. It's Halloween for sure. I gotta quit looking at it.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. But since you brought up that picture, we got to talk about. I know about a week ago, Facebook made the announcement that they're changing their name. So everybody's like, "Oh, Facebook's changing their name." I'm like, God, would they really do that? How would they do that? Would they set up a new URL and then keep the domain Facebook? So if everybody types in Facebook,
I think it's one bigger than
over.
that. I think it's just going to be the parent company, kind of like what Alphabet
No, that's what it is.
Google.
But when they first started rolling it out, that's what it made it sound like. I mean, should we flag that for misinformation? But for real though, I mean, now you're
Video
talking
removed.
about they
Stops.
roll out this name. Meta, because I mean obviously they're running Instagram, they got WhatsApp, and there's going to be other ones that are going to come along because all these huge tech companies are starting to make these acquisitions. You're getting to gaming, you got Microsoft acquiring Blizzard, so suddenly they have all these titles because you got PlayStation, you got Xbox, you've got PlayStation's got all exclusives. Well, now Xbox is starting to roll out. Now it's going to start showing up here in a couple of years when those games start coming out, and they're not coming to PlayStation. But this is what it comes down to. I kind of got a little off topic, but when you get into Meta, now they're using the term Metaverse. And I had to look this up, because I'm thinking, okay, what is this? What is this, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe we're in now? Okay, so I had to look this up, and Wikipedia says the Metaverse is an iteration of the internet part of shared virtual reality, often as a form of social media. And the way I take that is essentially,
what does that mean?
They want to have a market on social media, and I believe they do. Their real competitor, their only competitor, is Twitter. Realistically, as far as social media goes, Twitter is their only competition when it comes to any type of social media presence, and I believe that's because Twitter just has a lot more range on the amount of people that are on Twitter. And now you want to go old school. I remember Twitter.
They still have ISIS members on Twitter.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
freely tweeting.
Yeah. But I remember when Twitter was first becoming a thing. This was before smartphones. I still had like an LG 6100 like flip phone with like a 0.5 megapixel camera on the damn thing.
How technology has come along.
Yeah. So when you used to tweet, it was still limited to, 140 characters. You would actually text it to a number to post your tweet.
What? Oh,
and
God.
You could also get, when you follow people, because obviously you have to set that up on a computer because smartphones were not a thing yet, and you could have it whenever somebody tweeted something, you would get basically a text message from Twitter with, the username and then whatever they posted. You could reply to that. So these arguments that people have on social media now, I couldn't imagine how that would end up being. And now, mind you, this was still when you paid per text. You get I don't think unlimited was quite a thing, because I think unlimited back then was like something crazy, like $40 or $50 a month for text.
You still get those grandfathered in messages like texting fees and hidden charges may apply to this text message from some company.
And I think there's still some companies, some prepaid companies that do that. What it would be like Jitterbug or something like that for your grandparents to use their phone. But yeah, so just getting on that, I mean, I get what they're going at. They're trying to find this like umbrella to rebrand themselves, obviously, because there's been a lot of issues on the social media platform. We don't have to get into that because that could be a completely different topic that could go on for hours. But I feel like they want to try and get some type of monopoly on it. But while Twitter's there, I don't think they're going to get it because they've been a lot more restricted on what people can say, period. And I think that everything
except for ISIS members.
Yeah. But it should be
somebody somewhere needs to be like
discussion.
writing down all those, tracing them all, triangulating all those locations.
Just
go ahead, let them tweet. We'll sell all that data to the army. We'll just obliterate them off the face of the earth.
These guys are doing this stuff on like an iPhone 2, probably sitting out there.
No, I bet it's even. I bet it's better than that.
Oh, we probably left a bunch of iPhone 13s out over in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Because it's more expensive to ship them back than it is to just sit there and blow them up.
Yeah, you guys just go ahead and hang on to those for a while.
Shipping for a pallet there. That's $2,000 to send it back overseas. You might as well just blow it up for $500.
Yeah, shipping's another thing. You get into the USPS, and now they're basically upping the charges, and stuff's getting delayed. And I know some people are irritated about that, but it's like, I mean, I kind of get it because staffing shortages go across the board. That includes the post office. I was telling you a little bit about how both North and South gets mixed up. They got so many temporary workers or people that are filling in for other carriers that is stuff like that's going to happen, and I can't imagine the amount of ordering that's going to get done online this year, because I'm sure Amazon's going to be making their normal push, for, their Cyber Monday and all that stuff coming up here over the next 2 months, getting ready for shipping.
Tomorrow, Christmas starts like November 1st, doesn't it? For all the companies, like as soon as Halloween's over, bam, holidays.
Well, I guess it depends on what you look at. You get.
I can't even say that. They got Christmas stuff in the Garden Center and Walmart right now. Can't even say it's November 1st.
It's already putting a stranglehold. I mean, you didn't catch my Marty. Marty my Moose. I haven't updated the days yet. I'm about a week behind.
You are so Canadian. Marty the Moose. Tell me about Marty the Moose. Is there some story behind this? Is he a moosey Santa Claus up in Canada?
No,
Or do you guys like? Is Paul Bunyan the guy that delivers your presents?
Yeah, no, we try and stick to dog sled through the Eskimo services. That's usually the fastest way when you get up north.
It's the quickest way to get the diphtheria vaccine out, isn't it? That's a Balto reference for anybody as old as we are. Oh, the first good dog movie.
Yeah, I remember that one. Now that you say it, yeah. Well,
while we're on Homeward Bound, somebody shared something from that the other day. I think it was AJ.
That's another old movie right there. Gosh,
nostalgia. Here we are, all of encroaching on my 30s. What, you're 30?
34.
34, gosh.
I think something like that. It's getting to after 30, man. It just goes downhill. You kind of don't think about it anymore. It's like you got birthdays that you're excited for. You're excited when you turn 16. You're excited because you turn 20 or 18 because you can finally legally do things.
Yeah.
And then 21, it's like, hey, I can drink now. And then 25, oh, that's cool. And then 30, it's like, ooh, big and raw.
No, 25 is a little bit cooler than that because they lower your insurance on your cars.
Well, okay, yeah. I guess it depends.
But after that, yeah, it's just a.
But yeah, I mean, my last big hurrah was 30, and that was the first time I puked from drinking.
Ugh.
That was a rough night, let me tell you. And I was doing so good, all the way back to the house, and I puked off the side of the porch. I'm like, God damn it.
Nice.
And that was the last time I drank that much. And I'm pretty sure in the last 4 years, I haven't even drank a fraction of what I drank that night.
Sorry, neighbors. Downstairs neighbors.
Yeah, no joke. But,
oh, man.
Yeah, so, like, I know you brought up the whole Balto movie. It kind of made me think. I was thinking about the other day. What movie as a child did you watch that you probably shouldn't have watched that scarred you as a child? Like, something that scared the crap out of you. It didn't have to necessarily be a horror movie. It could be, like, a thriller or something more real. It could be a documentary. What's something that when you were a child that scared the crap out of you?
So this is a tough one because I haven't ever, like nostalgia. It's like the topic of the day. It's Halloween. That should be the topic of the day. But a movie that scarred me. I can't say any Stephen King movies really like spooked me when I was a kid because they were always just a little bit too far out there, But there was this one show I watched back in the day, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but it had some Matrix vibes to it, and I think it might have been an offshoot of some of the Matrix movies. But
I know they had like this weird animated type deal that they did along with the Matrix. Because I remember there was like a whole series that went along with it.
There was a couple
like
episodes.
Anime type deal. I kind of think
it was animated. Yeah. And it wasn't the right it wasn't the Japanese original anime style. It was almost Americanized, so it was just kind of different. But I remember I watched that on like my first TV at late night TV, all of maybe like 8 years old. But it was all about the robot takeover of the world, So like it was that portion of the Matrix, like because in the Matrix movies you're like, yeah, that all happened, that was all in the past. Here we're fighting back against them, but this was more like how it came to be.
Yeah.
And there's some freaky stuff in there, man.
The movies in general were, they had some of those parts, they got kind of dark, the machines ripping humans apart.
Yeah,
and
learning
like
learning how humans work in return. Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, I'm sure that the whole thing that Musk has got going on with humanoid robots we'll be able to outrun them and everything.
Yeah,
when has AI robots ever had any type of issue in the movies?
I'll be honest with
you.
you.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I'll be honest with you. I can't run farther than like a half a mile to chase my dog down in the park. I am not outrunning a robot.
I'm sure they'll have those hoverboards where they can go over 20 miles an hour here soon, and we'll be good to go.
We're overdue for a Boston Dynamics video of what they've been doing lately. We're about to see some crazy stuff. It seems like every other year they put out a video like, "Hey, here's these robots we made." Shows like
is that the one with the dog?
It's like a deer
like
thing.
That?
Yeah, a guy comes up and full on kicks it over, and it's just like, oh, and then like maintains its balance.
Right.
Like, imagine seeing one of those trucking through the forest or something, man. Because they've got all these test videos. They're so much better than we are.
Yeah, just imagine the outtakes they had where the robot like backlashed and kicked the crap out of the guy that pushed him over, kind of thing. But that's where we're going.
I mean, that's exactly where we're going. Who's gonna code the deer robot? That's what is it? I think it had horse overtones, as a beast of burden to carry all the stuff through the rugged terrain. Who's gonna code in the mule kicks into the mule robots as they're walking? When somebody gets too close, they're gonna get the kick to the head. But then the robots, they're just gonna be like, dang man, it's the self-awareness that's gonna kick in one day.
I don't know. Obviously, I mean, you look 30, 40 years ago, they thought we were going to have flying cars and everything like that. And that obviously didn't happen. But
yeah, but we have Facebook and the internet now. Look, it's so much better than a flying car.
To each his own, I guess. But
man.
Do you remember a movie with Pierce Brosnan, Dante's Peak? That's an old one. That's 90s.
I am a huge movie buff, believe it or not. I've seen a lot of them.
This is one that you want to look up. This is the one that scarred me as a child.
Pierce Brosnan has always been...
He is an amazing actor.
He's always been James Bond to me.
Yeah.
When I was born, I think, was GoldenEye came out that year.
I got to give it... Daniel Craig, I think, has done a pretty good job, especially in that first movie that he put out, where it kind of had more of the origins of James Bond. It's got that one scene where he's like on a chair with the bottom cut out, and they just full on swing that thing underneath the chair. And
oh
get kind of an idea.
God! Oh, the torture scenes.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that was like after the movie, you thought it was over, and then it goes to that scene, and it's like, like you can just every time they swing it, you can just feel it.
Thanks for that image.
Yeah.
What it's like being a man. Just watch that portion of the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, Dante's Peak. It's like. What is it? It's supposed to like post Mount St. Helen or something like that. It's another volcano that's gonna erupt.
The super volcano.
Basically, yeah, man. That thing terrified me as a child. And here I am in Canada, the closest volcano probably 1,500 miles away, and I'm worried about there being lava spilling out on my house kind of thing.
Childhood anxieties.
When you're a kid,
Hollywood movies.
Yeah, you think volcanoes, you think all this, lava spewing out over the top of it. And it's not even like that. It's like a slow death coming towards you at like
it's unavoidable
3 miles an hour kind of thing. It's not like a flash flood where suddenly it's raining the next minute you got 6 feet of water in your kitchen kind of thing.
Yeah, and then the creative minds behind it, they go one farther and they're like, all the ash coming down from after the eruption, that's gonna land on top of your house, and then the moisture in the air is going to turn that ash to concrete, and then it's going to weigh too much on the top of your house, and your house is going to fall in on top of you. Like, there's so many reasons to be scared. Buy this movie and watch it.
You got to amplify the fear, that's for sure. Yeah. But, man, I think we've been talking pretty much all over the place, and I know this is kind of like a Halloween special. We really haven't done much, but
yeah, let's start talking about some Halloween stuff, man. I'm a plethora of Halloween information. What do you want to know? I did a deep dive on Rob Zombie the other day, and I want everybody to hear it here first, folks. I am positive Rob Zombie is no taller than 5'4". The forced perspective used on him in concerts makes you think he is an average height man. He can't be. Can't be. His wife is like 5'10", and like any other like candid photo taken of them, he stands a full half a foot shorter than her. But any official picture, oh yeah, they're the same height. There's a box underneath him somewhere. I swear to God, he's got to be a small man. But
you're gonna go digging into that rabbit hole. You probably already have, haven't you?
I did. I did.
Conspiracies.
It's wiped from the internet. Nobody knows exactly how tall Rob Zombie is, and I think he edits his Wikipedia page to tell him he's all 6 feet tall. I promise.
It's kind of like the Mandela effect that people start getting into, and you go down that rabbit hole and it starts freaking you out, and it's like, what the hell is going on right now?
I did read up a lot on Rob Zombie back in the day. and gosh, he's got so many classic Hollywood movies anymore. Just some of the best Halloween movies think I've ever seen as far as like set and creativity goes. You know, oh, Devil's Rejects. Oh my God, those are classics now. But back in the day, wow. Um, sheesh, he's got all kinds of movie sets that he's done for music videos. He is the first person I think of when somebody is saying like, "Oh, who's that spooky guy?" Hollywood, boom, Rob Zombie. You're thinking of it. White Zombie started off doing music and stuff. He's got haunted houses all over now, big, huge, $1 million sets that these things are built from scratch with. It's hard to convey to someone who might not go to haunted houses and see this stuff, but man, the level of detail that Rob Zombie has is unparalleled. He brings it to the table in everything he does.
He's definitely the best at what he does. I'm not like a huge fan. I mean, I don't get into the darker side of things usually. I mean, I do on occasion, but at the same time too, I don't know. Like, I'll sit and watch like horrors and thrillers and stuff like that, but it's like some people just love the whole getting the crap scared out of them kind of thing, and I'm like, that just doesn't do it for me. Or you get into the movies that are like just
like to be scared,
unsensely torturing people kind of thing, and I'm like, this is messed up. Now, don't get me wrong, I will sit and watch the hell out of it. Or those stupid shows that go over like these mass murderers, and I just get into it. I'm like, this is so screwed up, but I cannot stop watching the damn thing. Crime. I'm like, yeah, that's the worst part. Is like some of the most realist things.
It's true.
People are interested in watching that. It's like, I can't think of the movie, but it was another horror that was like that had, what was it? This guy would bring people in and basically have them live stream, and the more people that logged on, the faster they died.
Oh, jeez. Was it a movie? I think.
Yeah, it was a movie. I can't think of what it was called.
I've seen.
It was sometime probably within the last 7-8 years, something like that. But that one was so messed up because it's like, if that actually happened, people would be logging on like crazy watching it.
Oh, man. But you know what?
Because people are messed up. Because people will sit there and watch that stuff, even if it's making somebody die.
Humans, yeah.
We enjoy pain and suffering.
We do. We really are. We're sadistic creatures.
And even people that say, "No, I like comedy." No, but you like comedy because you will laugh your ass off if your buddy goes and falls off a 10-foot ladder.
Oh man, yeah. Especially
you're gonna make sure he's okay, but you're gonna laugh your ass off at the end of that.
No, yeah, and then oh my gosh,
because it's funny. When most joke punchlines end up with somebody getting hurt.
Yep, absolutely. I got so many things just running through my head right now. Gosh, there was a performance artist one time that I think she was a Russian performance artist, and this is a true story. She went to like the Met Gala of performance art events. And she had like a couple different things like in front of her. I think one was like a pair of scissors, another one was like a gun, and then another one was just like just a couple random household items laying around. And she said, "I'm going to stand here for a full 24 hours, and you people here at the show in attendance, the audience members, can do whatever you want to me in 24 hours, and I will not stop you. I am giving you consent to do whatever you want." And it started off like, some people were just like tickling her nose, and then like, oh, ha, 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 like, here, she scratched her nose. And then other people were coming up and like, what they, at some point, I think it was at the end of the 24 hours, someone took the scissors and cut all her clothes off. Somebody actually cut into her skin. And the show ended with someone who just walked in off the street, picked up the gun and held it to her head for like 10 solid seconds. And I don't think anybody knew if the gun was loaded or not. But that poor artist, like, man, she stuck it through, and she was probably bawling. She had the tears in her eyes when somebody took a photo at the end of it, but that's how it ended. Some guy came up, held the gun to her head. A solid couple seconds went by before somebody else came up and was like, "Whoa, like, wait a second, I think we're done here." Took the gun away from the guy and then ended. And, yeah, I mean, that plus everything you can. You go to college and you learn a lot more about, like history and stuff. I was just talking with my buddy a while ago, and I don't want to get into like too much of the darker stuff. Trying to stay jovial with the Halloween event here today and not too dark. But the more you hear about, past, humans being humans, you're like, yeah, we're just a bunch of evil creatures. But here we are on Halloween celebrating it.
Well, that's why we got to erase things from history so they didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. Just, gosh. That's not what Halloween's about. What are you talking about, Chris? Halloween's about dressing up, dressing your kids up in spooky little outfits, and you're going around. That's what the American Halloween is about now, right? You're not trying to scare off spooky spirits with carved pumpkins and carved turnips anymore.
Yeah, I don't think people really know anything about that stuff. But you talk about costumes, and I mentioned this to you before, but I'll go over my first experience that I remember as a kid, and my most vivid costume that I remember. I don't remember all of them, but I want to say I was like maybe 7. My mom used to sew all the time, so she made this crazy.
Oh, you had the cool costumes?
No. I was a clown, not like a crazy, creepy clown, but like the clown that you kind of see as a stuffed animal in a baby's room. I like this teal, like baby blue with polka dots.
See, that's
the
unsettling
giant
for me.
tie, and she even made a wig out of yarn.
I don't have like the clownophobia. But just like the regular clowns now. If I see like a terrifying Pennywise clown that's got like the bloody sharp teeth and the dental distortions teeth that make your teeth look like they're just something unhuman, and like the long fingers and stuff, if I see all those Hollywood effects stuff, I'm like, that is awesome. But if I just see like a regular like little kid
like
dressed
Bozo
up like, yeah, if I just see a Bozo the Clown, then it's just like, that's got more attention for me than like what these scary clowns are anymore, because everybody wants to be the scary clown to scare the people with clownophobia. But
and that's the thing, people get so desensitized to it that it doesn't affect them anymore, and that's the thing that's messed up. And so it's like people don't get scared. You scared somebody with the same way 100 times, the 101st time it's not even gonna phase them.
Yeah, you're telling me. I have 11 years in the haunted house industry under my belt. They were some of the best of times. I did that. I scared people that would walk through a haunted house more or less the same way for every Friday and Saturday night all through October. Maybe the last weekend of September, first weekend of November on some fringe events, but that was my job, was to dress up in a super scary outfit. And I think my first year doing that, I was a scary butcher. But I wasn't just the guy, the bald bearded guy with an apron on, a bloody apron. Nah, we went farther than that. I was the guy with the $500 mask of a pig's head that was molded from a real pig's head, and like. That was probably one of my finer Halloween moments. There was just like a little Marshall, all of maybe 16 or 17 years old, realizing that the Halloween universe exists, not just in like a dress up and go out and get candy kind of way, but like in a professional, like your job is to scare the daylights out of people kind of way. And that circles back to the Rob Zombie topic. He's got a couple haunted houses out there that are just. He's got like a Chicago one. I'm sure there's like one in LA, probably Florida. I don't know. But top tier haunted houses. And yeah, you get a huge line of people every year. There's a lot of money to be made in that. Ticket price being $10 for some smaller, I would say, more affordable haunted houses that aren't, name brand Rob Zombie haunted houses. But other ones out there, you're in there for like an hour. You're in there for an hour and a half. And you're getting the daylight scared out of you for a full hour. You bought that $35 ticket. Take the ride. A lot of them are really impressive, too. A lot of creativity goes along with those houses. And there's a lot of them super local to the area. Quad Cities always has a handful or, a dozen, I'm sure, in different level variants. But you go into, Aurora now. You go into the Chicagoland area. I think I went to Basement of the Dead the first year that Basement of the Dead was a real haunted house, and just the level of detail in the first year coming into that, I was like, man, these guys have to be established. They've got to be here longer than that. The owner came right up to us just like, nah, man, we've been here. This is like our first year trying something real.
Yeah.
Now they're like number 1 in the area, and he owns 2 haunted houses that are top 5 in Illinois, Disturbia and Basement of the Dead. And yeah, I mean, like there's plenty of other people that get involved in it. A lot of work goes into those things. You build a haunted house for 4 or 5, sometimes 6, 7, 8 months before the real month, of haunting and revenue actually comes in. And yeah, there's a lot of construction work that goes into those. A lot of those props. There's a huge event that pretty much for the last 10 years or so, it's always been dead center in the center of the United States. So everybody has an equal chance to get, travel the same distance to get to the big haunt show, but it's called Transworld. Not what you're thinking, but it's a haunted house supply giant buyers show. And, the first couple days they have the show there at the big St. Louis Convention Center. It's marketed towards the haunted house buyers and people who own them, because that's their chance to get in there and be like, what's the brand new props for this year? Oh, hey, yeah, we've got effect props. We've got effects in general. We've got bubble blowing machines that when you couple a bubble blower with a neon light laser, then it makes these cool glowing radioactive bubbles. But then we did one better and we put fog in the bubbles. So now they just look cool. They look like little bubbles of fog landing all over people. And it's just like so much money, but they know that you're going to get that money back from that haunted house, charging $15, $20 a head.
Yeah.
So that little prop, you might not think it's that expensive, costs like $6,000, $7,000, $12,000. So it's not for everybody, but the money is there and it's lucrative. And Rob Zombie, I mean, he sees thousands of people go through his haunted houses each year, just to walk through them and maybe be scared. Maybe some of them are scared. Maybe some of them are a little bit different, and they all end up bumping into each other, go through all in a straight line, and nobody's really that scared because you're a giant mob of people running through it. But population, money.
Yep. No, because people pay for that kind of stuff, and it's always gonna be like that, because that's a thrill, that's adrenaline rush when you get the crap scared out of you. And that's
it really is. And like people start off and they're just like, there's a lot of anxiety that starts in the first stages of somebody like going to a haunted house for the first time. They're like, I don't know, man. Well, what if they scare me too much? Like I don't want to pee my pants in public. That doesn't really happen a lot unless you've legitimately got a phobia of something that they just happen to play on that year, like clownophobia or something. But what is a clownophobia? Is that actually the phobia name?
I don't know. There might be a more realistic name. We'll roll with that. That
Carnival
sounds
phobia.
Good. We know what we were talking about.
Yeah, but like it's more fun when you get into it and you start seeing how creative the characters are. Seeing all the really like it's fun stuff. But then like right in the middle of smiling and laughing about it, it's like it scared you. So I say there's a lot of good reasons to go to some haunted houses and stuff too. It's not just all pure terror, but there's a chance of that. And I mean, over 11 years, we've seen some really good rooms that we put together. I've put a lot of detail and effort into a lot of my characters that I've played. Like I haven't just played the Butcher. I played Spooky Doctor one time. You get my friend Liz Davis. I'm gonna plug her in this one because this is the most immemorable thing that I will take to the grave from these haunted houses. Is Liz Davis. Everybody local knows her as the local paraplegic girl. She's got dwarfism and she's paraplegic, so she's very tiny and it looks like she ain't got no legs. She keeps them tucked under her wheelchair. Well, we played on that one year. We made it look like she didn't have any legs in the haunted house. And I would carry her around on my back and swing her around at people. And everybody would be like, oh my God, like that is just another level of like, holy shnikes, that is real. And man, I had so many people scream at the top of their lungs. And she's so small that she could fit in the smallest little corners and stuff. And she would just be like, hiding around the corner, and just her making a movement and somebody seeing that out of the corner of their eye and just being like, oh my God, what was that? Because because her heart's already beating enough. And then they're just like, what was that? And then she gets to come do her scare and come crawling at him, and next thing you know, there's this small thing crawling at you on the floor, and like sometimes your first instinct is to like try to kick it away, and your other instinct is like, God, what the hell is that thing, And man, that was just such an awesome time when she was out there. Liz, if you're watching this, props to you, because that is using some of your own God-given abilities in the best way possible, because that is something that was just immemorable. It was the most memorable thing I've ever done out there. Is having Liz Davis swing around my back and everybody be just like, "Oh God, what is that thing?" No, it's a real person. It's literally talking to you.
And that's what gets people, when it's something
She's
that's
so great
real.
too.
It's just even more terrifying than just some kind of like animatronic that comes popping out of you, because it's limited on what it can do. Well,
but the animatronics,
man, it can.
The animatronics are, oh my gosh! When you couple scale, and I mean like size involved with some of these things. Shoot, we just went to a haunted house not too long ago where they had like a freaking, I mean, it was probably about as big as a small car, but it was an alligator head. And the eyes would glow, and the detail was there. You could count every single one of those teeth. But there's a man. It's a giant alligator head in a cradle. It's suspended with chains in the back that you can't really see. But there's a guy that has basically the equivalent of a broomstick, and he'll shove it at you. And it's got about 10 feet of movement, where all of a sudden you walk into a dark room and the next thing you see is
that thing just popping right in your face.
Lights and a giant alligator coming right for you. And you're like, oh God, when's it going to stop? Am I standing too close? It literally makes you take a step back in actual fear of like, what if I'm just standing too close? What if there's something that could be just like minorly wrong? But meanwhile, there's a guy behind you going, as he's like chomping them out. He's like, ha, got him. Oh man.
I can imagine people have the biggest smile on their face doing that stuff, because just watching people's reactions.
Oh yeah, loud noises, the car horns and everything. Somebody somewhere, props to you if you ever stumble across this video and find out, but somebody found a way to engineer a regular old hand drill with a car horn on it.
Oh, Jesus.
So anybody that's got a carnival haunt out now, if you hear a car horn wandering around, that guy just has a regular old drill, and it spins a little part inside of a car horn that makes the noise. Yeah. So you've got a car horn in your hand as long as that drill has a battery attached to it. But then it goes one farther. Some other creative guy goes, wait, there's enough power in this battery to put lights on it. Yeah, so much creativity involved in all this stuff, and I love it. I mean, shoot, there's going to be some haunted houses open probably next week, first weekend in November. I'm probably going to be out there going through them. I can't get enough of them. Everybody does something different, even when they're doing the same thing. Even if somebody just like copied, what they've seen from a year or two prior into their own way, it's still awesome.
Put your own
it's a good
twist
time
on stuff, and it could potentially make it better, and always have different outcomes. You never know, and it just depends on who it is too. You can do the same thing with different people and have different reactions.
One of my characters one year was the Tooth Fairy, but it rooted in realism. I dressed up like a dentist. And it was just a play on some crowd entertainment. I was out working the line. They call it, entertaining the people that are waiting to go into the haunted house. And I had my little dental tools, and I had, they call them dental distortions is the brand name, but they're fake teeth, but in a similar fashion of a mouth guard. You boil it for football in hot water, and then you bite it, and it takes the shape of your teeth. They have a plastic mold that you do the same thing. You put these little beads in hot water, they all come together, and then you mold them to your actual teeth, and then you stick them in the fake teeth. So then you have spooky teeth that are fully functional. And you can sit there and talk to people, and they're like, oh my gosh, like those do look so realistic. Like, are those his real teeth? And like, of course, I was the Tooth Fairy, so they weren't perfect though. They were all gnarled and messed up and everything. Like, I've been brushing them real good for a long time. But I had a little lab assistant. She was running around, and I'd grab her by her mouth and pull her over to people, and everybody'd be like, oh God, like that looked like it hurt. They'd be like, it probably hurt, but like it was good, right? And the Tooth Fairy. But
no, that's good.
Spooky
that's awesome.
dentist. You play on everything, play on every little idea you can.
Yeah. There's always fears that people don't realize that they have, and they end up coming out at the worst possible times,
Best possible times.
Like what's the one? trypophobia or whatever, the fear of too many holes or whatever. I know the whole thing when
phones
started having like 3 or 4 camera lenses.
People are like, that looks weird. Yeah. I'm one of those guys. That's like a real, like an instinctual fear, because you see something with like weird holes, like a honeycomb shape. You think like bees, and then like in your brain,
right? And
like
that's probably subconsciously
genetic memory or something,
right?
Of like, don't go towards that thing because like it's gonna hurt. You don't know why because you haven't experienced it yet, but it's like maybe like somehow your brain has already coded you to be like, that's a little bit unnatural.
Right. All right. Well, I think we're getting towards the end of the show, but I at least wanted to touch on. You like playing with wax. It sounds like wax, right? Wax. You got some candles.
That is my side business, yeah.
Phoenix Wicks Candle Company, and I follow what you guys do. I've used some candles. I know you had that one that was spotted cow bottle. That was pretty cool,
Yeah, we upcycle beer bottles, wine, liquor, whichever. It's just the little hobby I got involved in. It's got really nothing to do with anything else in life, but I just started. I'm a big beer guy, bourbon guy. The craft beer scene. They got some of the coolest artwork you'd ever see in a bottle. So I was like, man, if I ever drank a really cool beer or bourbon or something, that I would, just put the bottle up on a shelf or something, like to look at maybe. And you're like, oh yeah, I drank that. It's kind of a cool bottle, And then I started realizing like more people did that than you think, especially if the bottle was expensive. And
right.
I just sat for a while and I was like, man, how can I do this better? Like, because at some point you start getting like 24 bottles up on the shelf. It starts to look a little trashy. Yeah, they're cool looking. That one's called Viking's Blood. Like, how cool is that? But, I was just like, man, I wonder if I can get some function out of these, especially the cooler bottles that are like screen printed. And I was like, man, there's this bottle cutter on the internet that I'm going to buy, and I'm going to try to cut some of these bottles. Well, long story short there, I cut through my entire shelf of saved bottles that I drank. So wasted all of them. But I learned how to use the tool. And now we do cool things with different cut bottles. We upcycle them into candles. Yep. My business partner, Caitlin Equist, she was telling me one day, what are you going to do with all those things? And I was just like, man, I don't know. Like, I guess that, you cut the tops off of them. You can like put stuff in them maybe. Maybe they'll like put little plants in them or something. I don't know. I was just thinking of something stupid to maybe do with them. And she was like, I was looking around and I was thinking they'd be cool candles. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That might be a pretty cool idea. And then like we talked about it maybe 1 or 2 other times, and then it came down to it. And it's like, I'm not doing anything else with this. So you want to try to make candles out of them? And she's like, yeah, no, I think we could probably like sell some for people too. And I was like, I think you're onto something with this one. So then we talked about it for another half hour, and we're like, damn, you know what? If this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. Let's get it started. Let's do it. Now we make, our own line of candles that are actual candles, not just solely upcycled anymore. We've got different jars, different sizes. It's 100% soy wax, so it's not just like crap wax that it's burning either. It's clean burning cotton wicks. Even the fragrance oils are clean burning fragrance oils, so it's not going to put any junk in the air. But yeah, I mean, we do cans, bottles, jars, all kinds of stuff, and we even have a white label option now. So if you
I think I've seen that. You guys, your Facebook page, and anybody that's watching, you can look it up. Phoenix Wicks Candle Company, and also the same.com for your website. I mean, I did see some of that stuff. I've seen a lot of the candles that you made. I seen you got one here.
What's that? A bat squatch.
There you go. Perfect. Bat squatch. I don't know how well the camera's going to focus here, but
that's the Rogue Brewing there.
That's pretty badass right there. That's like your normal can of beer. It's repurposed into a candle. And like something like this, how long would you say that something like this would burn for?
Yeah, I had my grandma burn a couple of them just because, and while she was there, she's like, I'm going to keep track of how long they burn for. So she had her little pen and notepad right next to how long she would burn the candle for and wrote down how many hours. And these little guys here, I think it's 12 ounces of this brand of wax will burn for at least 48 hours. It's a long time.
Crazy. Like, I can tell you right now that you can't even get, a cheap candle, $10, $15 to last.
I wouldn't know. I don't pay attention to the cheap candles anymore.
No, seriously, because everybody's gotten them for Christmas and stuff like that, or a birthday.
See, and that's another cool thing.
You're lucky to get, 4 or 5 hours some of those candles because they just seem to not burn very good.
If they're cheap or something, but these they make great gifts and they're really unique. And I just once I started making them into candles and stuff, I was just like, man, this is a little bit cooler than what I maybe gave it attention to, and now we go to different craft shows and sell them all around and stuff, and it's just something we do in the side time, make a little bit of money, because that's what it's all about, right?
Right, it's something you enjoy doing, and that's stick with it. It's fun.
If you enjoy doing something and you can make money on it, don't do it for free, man. It could be anything.
Yep, there you go. But yeah, I know.
Retirement's important.
You were just in Davenport, and you guys had to look this up.
Man, yeah, we're there all the time.
Iron and Grain Coffee House Halloween Artisan Market. How did that end up going? Was there a lot of really people that showed up for that? Market?
It's just population of the Quad Cities, but Iron and Grain Coffee House. There's one in East Moline that's attached to a venue called the Rust Belt, which is just incredible, and it's owned. They're all in the same general company. Of the Streamline Architect company that we can circle back into abandoned buildings, and these guys go in and they find these old historical buildings and stuff, and they renovate them. And if you got a guy that'll spend the money to renovate them, or if the city wants to put the money into it, they'll find these old buildings and they'll make a concept plan and be like, hey, this is what this could be. That's I mean, like they do a great job with all their events and everything, especially in the Rust Belt. But they just had a coffee shop off of Locust and Davenport open up, and it was just a little drive-through bank at one time. Well, they overhauled the inside of it, gave it a nice paint job, turned it into a coffee shop, and they had that drive-through lane for the tellers with the roof over it, and they were just like, well, what can we do with this? And they got the genius idea to use that mini parking lot for a little craft show, and they're just super resourceful, and we really love them because they think of everything, and they run everything really well, and they're super easy to work with, and they got really cool people over there that are thinking of cool stuff all the time. And maybe you even heard of some people going down to the Rust Belt to watch Hawthorne Heights or whoever the last band was that rolled through there. And that building was an old automobile manufacturing building from like the 1900s. I think they shut down in like 1930 or something. They made super old cars, and there's even an old car still in there that's just like a remnant of the past. And like I say, they went through and they renovated that whole place and made some outlet shops in it. You got a coffee shop, you got a gym, hair salon, a little taco bar place in there, and big huge event center for whatever else you think you could pack into it. And we're going to be there a couple more times because they've got some Christmas stuff going up in the in the little common area adjacent to the coffee house where you can enjoy your bagels and coffee. They just put together Artisan Market for 2 months. They had their builders go in and build some little cubicle areas, and not only us, but I think it's 5 at least other small business, small maker businesses will be in there to sell their wares as well, and we'll be there until Christmas, until New Year's. So our candles will be on site in East Moline at the Rust Belt, closer. It's the Iron and Grain Coffee Shop in the Rust Belt for 2 months. So if you're ever out shopping or anything like that, check it out because there's going to be some cool stuff there. Check it out on your way to or back from the malls in the Quad Cities or anywhere around there. That's one way to get a hold of them. If you've got like a certain bottle that you wanted to cut, I could probably find some time to do that too if it was super special and meant something to you.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, and especially with Christmas right around the corner. I know we're getting off the Halloween subject here.
Right around the corner, past Thanksgiving.
Let's be honest.
The greatest holiday known to mankind.
Starts the end of August. Let's just be honest here. And I mean, I'm more of a Christmas guy. I like the whole family atmosphere, and it's different when you got kids. You get to them wake up and open Christmas presents and stuff.
Do you spend your holidays in Canada by chance?
I haven't.
You haven't.
It's a little harder, and especially the last year and a half. Travel between borders has been a little more difficult.
Gosh.
Let's say,
I didn't even think of that.
Because I mean, I got family there, so I can still travel, but it is definitely more of a headache now. And you think restrictions and stuff are bad here, but it's even worse up there. They got barcodes on the vaccine cards that you got to get scanned in before you go into places. And I mean, that's coming here too, but that's way. We could be talking here another hour easy, but I mean, that's,
I can talk for another 2 hours talking like that's what I do best.
But I kind of want to end it on the candles. You know, like I said, anybody that's watching, check them out on Facebook. Once again, Phoenix Wicks Candle Company. They got a lot of awesome stuff, and like Marshall said, you know, if you've got a nice bottle, something cool that you want to do, and that works great. And I'll tell you what, one thing for sure, and a lot of people don't think about is, you know, dads, fathers, grandfathers. A lot of them are drinking, whether it be whiskey, vodka, stuff like that.
A lot of bourbon guys out there.
And I know Father's Day is a ways off, man. Even if you're not thinking Father's Day and you're thinking because when you're thinking a guy, what the hell do you get a guy for Christmas? I know we know what we like, but whenever somebody else is trying to get us something, it's like, what the hell? If somebody, you know, I like Canadian Club. I like the aged whiskey and stuff.
You like
that.
Canadian Club? You don't say.
I do. But no, some of the aged stuff is really good. You know, Jack here and there. But you know, if somebody was to get like this personalized, like something that I like drinking as a candle, even I'm not a huge candle fan. If I got a candle, I'll burn it. Yeah. You know, but it's something cool. It's unique. You're not gonna go to your local retailer and pick something like this unless it's something that you have located in the store. But you're not gonna go to Walmart. You're not gonna go
it's so much more
to a chain store.
So much more unique than that, I would say.
You know, you're not gonna find this stuff. And if you do find something that's mass produced, the quality is not gonna be there as if it's getting done by hand.
Yeah.
And I can attest from that just from the candles that I've seen from you myself. And like you were saying, even just the small one, you know, burning upwards of like 50 hours. I couldn't imagine what a freaking bottle of something that's probably 3 times the size what would burn at. And now I'm assuming some of those bigger
80.
ones you're probably gonna put like 2 or 3 wicks or something in some of those bigger ones.
Yeah, we get some big ones sometimes. We get the full liter bottles in there, you know, like Captain Morgan and stuff like that. The super big ones that you'll find like behind the bars and everything too, which you know, a lot of we frequent a lot of bars around town, and they help us out when we're looking for empty bottles and stuff too.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But yeah, those big ones will burn for like 80 hours at least too.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, man, you guys will have to check them out. And I mean, this has been a pretty good discussion. I know we didn't read too much into some of the deeper discussions, you know, as far as Facebook and politics. But we'll have to do this again, and we'll have to maybe dive into that and get some more topics and actually have discussions maybe once this podcast grows a little bit more, and we can kind of bring maybe some actual people chatting and then getting some of their opinions and stuff and have some open discussions, maybe get a few more heads rolling here and see what kind of discussion we can get going.
We've always I'm a super big guy in the community, especially, you know, I mean, granted we're in Mount Morris here, but you know, back in Rock Falls and Sterling, I like to you know, get a lot of projects together to, you know, bring some stuff from things that I've experienced in like other towns and stuff, try to bring a little bit of that back into our town just for quality of life's sake and stuff. So like I'm always working on something, and there's always projects in the works and stuff, especially with all those old rundown buildings in town. I don't know. Got something in the fire already I'm working on, but
it does seem like Rock Falls is doing a little bit better than Sterling lately as far as the empty buildings go. I mean, you got the riverfront. It does seem like they're kind of going in the right direction.
Yeah, you know, the riverfront park, that's a big deal.
It is starting to look pretty nice down there. I mean, it's better than nothing. And I mean,
it's a lot better than a parking
You've got
lot.
an amazing view across the river to some, you know, pretty artistic broken windows. And
we sure will one day.
Maybe the rest of it will burn down someday or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's how you get the ball moving on demolishing a lot of stuff, is you just, you know, have a fire in there. Then all of a sudden that opens up a lot of fun stuff.
Seems like it happens every about 3 years or so. Something happens in there somewhere.
Some unfortunate electrical shortage or some vandals in there. Yeah, it's always something, I swear.
Yeah, but that's where the sign of the times is, you know, or, you know, in yesteryears you had a steel mill and everything, and now you've got distribution centers and other areas where, you know, that took employees that weren't working at the steel mill, kind of thing. It's kind of sad where everything goes, but if you don't stay ahead of the times, you're going to fall behind real fast, and some people aren't ready to accept that, and you kind of get stuck, and then you're kind of SOL when it comes to anything, whether it be a job, a career. You got to get ahead of the times.
Yeah, I mean, globalization is a real thing. We're starting to see some problems now. I personally don't think the entire world can supply itself. I think we probably should fall back to an earlier time of, like a regional supply. We seen with the Suez Canal and all the other stuff that's happening. There's still, I'd say, hundreds of boats in all these ports backed up because they just can't get stuff in fast enough.
California's been pretty bad. It does sound like they've been rerouting some of them down to the Florida coast, and it sounds like they've been getting unloaded there, which is not a bad idea.
Yeah,
obviously, these
so out of my control.
These cargo ships don't want to. That's a huge route for them to go back all the way around the U.S. To get over there. But at the same time, too, you take an extra week or two travel to go over there. Otherwise you could be sitting possibly months.
I mean, they've been sitting weeks.
Yeah, some of them could be longer. The problem is they just don't have the manpower to unload these containers.
Yeah,
because it's not just like somebody can like go through a temp agency and go run one of these huge cranes.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't want to do something like that. I know these guys make good money, but that's got to be nerve-wracking. You're taking these cranes, like you're the only one doing it. It's not like you have these spotters all over the place. So it's like you're playing a claw machine, but the odds aren't on your favor.
With 44,000 pounds,
yeah. Like, I'm sure they get dropped here and there. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Like, is that something that I'm a
big TikTok
like
guy.
A slap on your wrist, like, don't do that again? Like, they can't fire these guys, obviously, for stuff like that or, equipment malfunctions. But I'm sure the stuff happens. It's like, well, there goes my wish order. I knew that was in that container.
You've waited long enough for that as it is. You probably bought something to replace it over in the meantime anyways.
I'll be honest, though. I mean, I've done it just because I'm like, it's like 69 cents for like this laptop. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You get it and it's literally just like a magnet.
69 cents for a laptop. Have a free laptop. It's a little older and it's going to spy on you all day long, but
hey, you know what?
At least you can watch TikTok videos on it now.
That's all that matters. Not that I mean, I don't spend hours just thumbing up on freaking videos that are stupid and ridiculous.
I do. I don't ever put like hours into it or anything, but I can say overall all day, I probably put like a half an hour into those stupid videos. But
I can honestly say I bet you it's more than that. There's probably no way of tracking it, unlike Facebook where you can actually track how much usage you've had. And I'll be honest, about a year ago, I was averaging probably 2.5, 3 hours a day.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Now, I think that does also include like time on Messenger and stuff like that. But even if the app's open, that's counting that time. Now I probably won't even get a half hour on there.
Yeah,
and a lot of that's just making a post. I'm not just sitting there scrolling. But like I said, I have used TikTok a lot more than I have Facebook. And I think that's part of the reason that Facebook is trying to go in and try and take a feed on this. Look, you get into...
Just check my Facebook real quick. 2 notifications.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
It's 5 more seconds added on the total usage
just
of the day.
think, if you were a female, it'd be like 1,000 notifications right there. But no, for real, like, they're looking at this stuff and they know that if they don't get ahead of this, they're going to be in trouble. But you get to TikTok, people are consuming a lot of media through TikTok. And you look at YouTube, they start doing YouTube Shorts. I don't know if you saw that. Essentially the same idea.
Yeah.
But it seems more complicated the way they're rolling it out now because you've got all these. I mean, I follow some, YouTubers because some of their content is pretty good. Yeah. I'm sick of watching like 3 commercials every 25 seconds of content I get to watch. But the point is, like, they're rolling this stuff out, but now you got. I feel like it's going to take away from some of their original content because these creators are starting to want to make these little clips or whatever for their YouTube Shorts, and I feel like it's going to take away from some of their stuff.
There's probably incentive to make those little shorts. I mean,
right, and some of this
YouTube Shorts, is that what they're called? I
think that's essentially what it is.
And there's Facebook Stories now where you can post cute little 10, 15-second clips. There's Snapchat Stories.
If you're using, I mean, how many people use the Facebook Stories? If somebody's going to use that, they're probably just going to use Snapchat. Let's be honest.
And they probably put a Snapchat story on there.
I mean, I do see people, use it. I know when you go to make a post, like a picture, a video, or whatever, it asks you if you want to add to your story. I don't. Like I think the average person doesn't really look at that stuff because it's as your top of your page, but it's not really the same.
As a person, like as an average person, yeah. But I mean, I can see that in another light from like the business standpoint. You know, like if you had you know, you're advertising one of your products or something like that on your business page, if that pops up and says, "Do you want to add it to your personal page as well?" Sometimes I'll do that. And I guess I do use Instagram, a little cross-platform esque ways to share from Instagram onto Facebook. Because if you don't,
is a good way to do. You know, if you're doing a lot of stuff that's visual media, I think Instagram is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you get to like audio, people usually think Pandora, Spotify. When you think video,
the radio sites, yeah.
Right, but when you think video, you're usually thinking like YouTube.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've all got their own niche that they do, and that's kind of where they're set at. You know, Facebook, I heard somebody use the term, what is it? It's like the boomer, millennial social media site.
Hey, wait, that's me.
Yeah. And I heard this term, and you start looking at it, and I think that's why they're trying to change the way that they're rolling things out, because they know a majority of that audience that is under 18 right now is not really using Facebook, and if they have it, they're not using it very often because they're going to spend 6 hours on TikTok a day instead of Facebook. So that is getting TikTok revenue, but not Facebook. Like,
is that going to be like us? Like, our grandparents are still like, you know, talking about stuff that shows up in the newspaper. Is that going to be us on Facebook in 50 years, sitting in like a nursing home watching TikToks and being like, I don't know what these damn kids are doing anymore?
It's going to be something complete. I mean, I think virtual reality is starting to slowly make its way out. I know it kind of tried to. It kind of botched it.
Virtual reality. Every time something is like a virtual reality goggles, like it's always like the coolest thing for
it has to be something different.
Goldfish mentality, like 3 months.
It does need to be more of like that Google Glass that people had a problem with because it had a camera on the
the glasses.
That's what it needs to get to. Something where you have like
a
HUD
it doesn't
that
need
comes
to get to that.
You're glad that is what it's going to come to. In order for virtual reality to work, you can't put a 5-pound headset on your freaking head. It needs to be something that is on like your glasses, and it's got a HUD. You essentially got Iron Man, you know, Tony Stark glasses on your face. That's essentially what it needs to come to.
In order for
VR to work, it's going to have to get to that point, because if you want people to use it and consume virtual reality, it needs to be something that is usable on a wider base. Now, if we're getting into the whole Tesla and, you know, animatronics and cars that drive themselves, that's going to be more doable as far as virtual reality. Myself personally, I can't even, if I'm in the passenger seat with somebody driving, I cannot look at my phone while the car is in motion because I will get sick.
You get motion sickness?
I get motion sickness. I usually have to drive, but it's only if I'm like concentrating. If I'm looking out on everything else, I'm fine. It's if I'm looking down, looking at my phone. I don't know if it's just the fact that everything's moving. That's probably why, you know, those stupid VR
have you ever been in
coasters
a boat?
And stuff like that.
Have you ever taken a cruise?
Yeah, oh yeah. When I was younger, I used to go on them all the time, but I can't remember.
That's like a seasick feeling, isn't it? Have you ever? Were you seasick as hell?
I don't remember.
Man,
dude, I went on like
so
3 or 4 cruises before I was like 7 or 8. So I mean, my parents traveled a lot when I was a kid. So, but anyways, this has been a really good conversation. I think we're going on to like an hour and a half now, a little bit longer than I was expecting to go. But it's been a good conversation.
I'm just waiting to hand out candy later tonight, man.
That's a different topic.
It's Halloween.
See, now what's going to happen is somebody's going to take that little clip and they're going to take it out of context.
Oh, yes.
And then they're going to like clip it with other things that you said, and it's going to
watch it on their Meta goggles, which is just a HUD like Iron Man from the Facebook company. An invasion of your privacy and first-person view.
It's Meta, and there is no regulations for social media because that is nowhere in the Constitution. So they can do whatever the hell they want right now.
You know what? I guess you're right. Let's just leave everything as is. We'll see how bad it can get.
You know what? We're all just along for the ride at this point.
Yeah, grab a hold, grab on, hang on.
We're going down. The world's ending here anyways, you know, with global warming and
oh god.
The fact that I don't know, that's something else that it's open for interpretation. We have to do something, but realistically, what are we just going to have everybody stop driving cars, and what's going to happen to all the cars if they just made enough electric vehicles for everybody? Where are those cars going to go? In a landfill.
I saw somebody had this genius idea. Everybody was worried about the sea level rising, and then they made this correlation between the ships in the ocean and how much water displacement that is. So their genius level solution to the rising seawaters was to just take these boats out of the water, so they displace less water, and the sea level would go down.
At the same time, too, it's not the worst idea I've heard.
Oh, it's like troll physics, where like you have just like a fan on the back of a little go-kart, and the fan will just like blow the wind ever so slightly to propel you forward, and then you just take the electrical cord of that fan and you plug it back into the extension cord it came from for unlimited electricity, and then you have a free power car. It makes a little sense.
Yeah, some people
troll physics.
Some people's ideas, but at the same time too, some people's create. I'm sure people thought that Edison was a freaking nut job.
Oh Christ!
I mean, realistically, that's exactly what the case was.
He was a savage businessman.
I know all about the storage.
Nikolai Tesla, he died broken, penniless because of just how many ways Edison just business-wise turned around and just dropped the hammer on him so many times.
Smart businessman.
Humans being humans.
That's American corporations for you right there.
Oh, just American, yeah. Nothing bad ever happens in Canada, ever. Sunshine and rainbows and mooses up
occasionally there's a moose that attacks somebody, but other than that, you know what?
Occasionally a moose attacks somebody. Those things are huge. I've seen some videos.
People don't realize. They think, it's just like a deer, right? No. Like you can drive under one.
Oh my gosh.
Like you do not want to hit one with your car.
Like
your car will not have anything left.
We all see cows down here. We're like, cows.
Let's not talk about
they're
cows.
Not that big, but then like as you get farther out, there's different kinds of cows that are bigger, and mooses are way bigger than cows.
Oh yeah, moose is like your what are those horses called? The big ass ones, the Budweiser ones.
Oh, I played enough Red Dead Redemption to tell you it's what a Belgian draft horse,
something like that.
A Shire horse.
Yeah.
What are the huge ones?
But it's essentially something like that. I mean, just the mass of it is huge. Like it'll tower over an average car. Like I said, it's not something you want.
And it's got horns.
Yeah. It's like Bambi on steroids or something.
All right.
It's like Bullwinkle. But yeah, so it's been a good conversation, and we're going to have to do it again. Hopefully not next Halloween. Do it a little bit earlier.
I got a couple projects I could elaborate on a little bit more here. For an introductory first time idle chatter debut. I think we've covered a lot here.
Yeah,
we got the setup pretty good,
and it was fun. And I'm gonna get more of this stuff figured out. We'll see how it rolls. See if I can get it rolled out, Spotify and things like that, and then we'll kind of go from there. And
absolutely
have some fun with this.
Yeah, happy Halloween to everybody.
Yeah,
like, subscribe, and smash that favorite button. Share,
and definitely follow, because that's about the only way you're going to get notified for any upcoming podcast, because I don't want to exactly have a schedule yet. I want to do it at least weekly and hopefully have somebody on. I do have quite a few business owners and other entrepreneurs that I want to have on, kind of go over stuff like that. I think that's a cool little concept, kind of cover these small communities and
absolutely.
See how people have grown from.
Help those small businesses as much as you can, man. Plug everybody you can, even if they're like me and they don't have anything interesting to talk about at the time. Just
except the gaming parlors.
Tell them no.
Screw them.
Man, there's so many of them. We're inundated now. It's like a plague.
Well, we're just gonna have to roll with that.
Free enterprise, man. Everybody's making money.
You know what?
Way. They can do it.
Do your hustle how you're gonna have to do your hustle.
Right? I make candles for good. God, Christ's sakes, I just make candles. I don't prey on people's retirement money.
Yeah, until you start charging, it's like, this is a special edition bottle. It's only $389.99. Order now and you get the teacup version. But no, you guys will definitely have to check out these candles. Like I said, they're freaking awesome. And there's so many to choose from. And like I said, he is willing to do custom ones for crazy obscure bottles that you could imagine. You might have got some kind of import
The
impure beer bottle.
The
from
Dom Perignon
German.
occasional bottles. What Blanton's super fine bourbons and stuff. I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah, and even if you want that top shelf UV blue, go for it, man.
That was the first one. As soon as I turned 21, that was my first drink.
Or a little MD-40. We're getting some of that, those memories right there. Mine definitely have to be
no more.
Jaeger.
All right, that's enough nostalgia for the day.
All right, Marshall, it's been a good one. And everybody, tune in, like, and follow the podcast for more and upcoming events coming soon. Catch you guys later.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
That was fun.
It was fun.
Idle chatter. Yeah. Just some simple idle chatter.